stay with us. After the break, we'll serve you something interesting. In a surprising turn of events, the presidential and parliamentary elections proceeded peacefully in the Bawku Central constituency. And we say surprisingly, not lightly. That's in the Upper East region, contrary to many expectations that there would be violence due to the long-standing chieftaincy conflict there. Now, this calm came as a relief to residents, election observers, and Ghanaians as a whole. Our Upper East Regional Correspondent Albert Sore covered the electoral process in that volatile area and came through with a special report, taking us with him on his journey to and from Bawku. After this, I'll be serving you my blunt thoughts on the AM show. But for now, let's head to Bawku with Albert Sore.
As a journalist covering the 2024 election in the Bawku Central constituency, I faced firsthand the tension that still lingers there. On the eve of the election, in the company of a fellow journalist, I joined local voters in seeking police escort to ensure safe passage into the volatile area which has been engulfed in an inter-ethnic chieftaincy conflict for decades now. At the regional police headquarters in Bolgatanga, I found many voters stranded, unable to find buses willing to make the journey due to safety concerns and the rigorous screening processes the security agencies had to take them through.
We took it upon ourselves to do this organization. And now, because of the security situation, they need to search your bags and then search your wares before you can now load them in the truck. So Bolga has become the conversion point for all natives of Bawku Township who are going to Bawku, for everything to be searched before you can board. And now, due to that security situation too, most of the buses or the market trucks are not willing to go.
But they arrived in Bawku less than 1 hour before the curfew time of 6 p.m. and proceeded to the police station where the officers were to report to duty. We were introduced to officers here who assured us that driving to our hotel was safe. Nothing in the Bawku town was unusual as we drove to the hotel. Curfew time was fast approaching, but the streets were still busy with the movement of people. We took the chance to gauge the mood ahead of the elections the next day by speaking to a few youths in the town.
We want a peaceful election. The fact that Bawku is not stable, there's tension in town, and then this evening we saw a lot of military men inside. They came to town, so I'm sure with that the town will be stable for us to vote.
Though there is a security threat, so due to one or two reasons, but upon all that, people will definitely come out their numbers to vote. Because looking at 3 days today, the situation is now a bit calm.
We then proceeded to our hotel just in time for the curfew hour. It is believed that the factions in the Bawku conflict are aligned with the NPP and NDC, and so there were rumors that they may try to scare each other ahead of election day by firing guns at night. But none of this happened. The town was quiet throughout the night. The morning of election day, between 6 and 7 a.m., we arrive at the Bawku Municipal Assembly where the office of the Electoral Commission is located. Electoral Commission officials were busy transporting ballot boxes and other election materials to various polling stations. The Deputy Constituency Returning Officer, Hassan Dan, told JoyNews that the transportation of the election materials had begun the previous night.
Yesterday, the distance places, that is where our challenge is, Mognori and then Misga. So we have deployed those ones yesterday in the night. We met the security about on 3 occasions We told them that listen, if we don't deploy early, then we are likely to start late. And so that exception is given to us as we are in the EC jackets, then that exception is given to us. So we have also told our officials that they should make sure that at least the jackets will be with them. That will be at least a pass for the curfew.
We proceeded to visit some polling stations, of course, conscious of the volatile security situation here in Bawku. To move about in Bawku, journalists like myself must know a few things about the conflict dynamics in this town. First, as long as you do not belong to any of the factions in the conflict and do not interfere or take sides in it, you will not be a target. Also, the town is demarcated into territories belonging to each faction in the conflict. A journalist must know these territories and have a good relationship with the people. And last but not least, each faction has fighters and people watching the streets for their enemies or suspicious persons entering their territory. So security agencies advise that as a stranger, you should drive with your windows open at all times so you can easily be seen by anyone watching from a distance. This keeps you safe as you will not be mistaken for someone else and get shot at or attacked. With all this in mind and our vehicle branded, we moved about the entire town without any problems. Before 8 a.m., we sighted more voters arriving from Bolgatanga in buses, escorted by the military. The transportation of election materials to some polling stations here in the Bawku constituency had delayed mainly due to the security protocols involved. Therefore, voting started a bit late at some of the polling stations. At the Methodist Primary School polling station, we met voters in a queue, but no Electoral Commission officials were present at almost 9 a.m. We were told that the EC officials had set up for voting to begin, but were instructed by an unknown person to pack up and go to the Bawku prisons nearby for qualified prisoners to cast their votes first. This angered the waiting voters at this polling station.
Yeah, they set everything. They move it into the prisons for the prisoners to exercise their franchise. But we have thought they should have used something, some method different. By bringing the prisoners out to vote, that one should have been. The people here are more than the 18 prisoners inside. So it's making everybody frustrated.
And I think it's not well planned. If it is well planned, at least they should have known what to do. I was here as early as 5 a.m., but I was much disappointed. As we speak now, no any EC officials here. We don't even know what is happening.
Later, the EC officials returned. The returning officer for this polling station, Dasmani Ayoma, explained why they temporarily left.
You know, the prison is just closer to this our station. So we're called that we have to move to the prison yard for them to finish voting before we come here to continue those that are here. Yes, I was instructed by EC, and that's why we did so. Yeah, there were 17 of them.
Voting subsequently began here, and we proceeded to monitor the elections across polling stations in the Bawku Central constituency. It was peaceful everywhere we visited. No challenges or disagreements whatsoever. At about 11 a.m., we met the parliamentary candidate for the MPP, Paul Agobere Alale, who had just finished casting his vote at the Kokazule Primary School polling station.
And it's peaceful. And I know across the other areas it's the same, because I have not received any report from any of the polling stations that there's some misunderstanding or whatever it is. So my hope is that by the end of the day, the declaration will be peaceful and Bawku will move forward.
So where can we
As the polls drew closer to an end at 5 p.m., one thing was also on our minds: the curfew which was still in place in Bawku beginning at 6 p.m. The protocols put in place were that at 5 p.m., voters in queues would still be allowed to vote, and by 6 p.m., which is the curfew time, if there were still voters in queues, the security personnel would provide protection for them to vote and go home. All other civilians were to go indoors at 6 p.m. However, persons who had accreditation to monitor or supervise the elections, such as the EC officials, polling station agents, the media, and other election observers, could stay and observe the counting of ballots at the polling stations, again under the protection of the security personnel. We observed counting at the Old Court polling station.
63, 64, 65, 66.
This went on until about 7 p.m. and we decided to go and wait at the Bawku Divisional Police Station, where we had been informed the Constituency Results Collation Center would be. Upon getting there, we were told to instead go to the office of the Electoral Commission located at the Bawku Municipal Assembly.
Voting has ended here in Bawku Central Constituency, and it's also curfew hours. We were initially told that the collation center was supposed to be at the police station. Now we are being told to move to the office of the Electoral Commission, which is located at the Bawku Municipal Assembly. You see that some Electoral Commission officials in the company of security are going there. So we are just joining them to that place.
We arrived there at about 8 p.m. and met EC officials protected by security personnel arriving with ballot boxes from various polling stations. Later, we learned that the ballot boxes were only to be received here before the results pink sheets were taken to the police station where the collation was to be done. Therefore, at about 10 p.m., we returned to the Bawku Divisional Police Station. The collation of results was done in a hall inside the station with some police officers present.
NPP 131, CPP 2, NDC 71.
The process took all night, so we spent the night here. The next morning, the collation of election results for the Bawku Central constituency continued until about 9 a.m. The Electoral Commission officials were ready to declare the election results. First, the presidential results.
Mahmoud Bawumia, he had 13,384 valid votes. Daniel Augustus Latte Jr., he had 38 votes. Christiana Kobina Andrew, 26 votes. Kofi Akpalu, 17 votes. Mohamed Frimpong, 7 votes. Nana Akosia Frimpoma, 58 votes. John Dramani Mahama, 26,993 votes. Hassan Abdullahi Ayarga, 213 votes. Kofi Corentin, 6 votes. George Tum Barima Adu, 12 votes. Nana Kwame Bediako, 10 votes. Alan Kojo Kirimantin, 39 votes.
And then the parliamentary election results.
We have MPP Paul Gobre Alali having 3,855 votes.
Mahama Ayarga of NDC, 25,350. Anaba Emmanuel of APC, he had 308 votes. The total valid votes is 29,513. Total rejected ballots is 6,277. Total vote cast, 35,790. By the results announced, I hereby declare Honorable Mahama Ayarga as the MP-elect for Bawku Central constituency of the 2024 general presidential and parliamentary election. Thank you.
The NDC's parliamentary candidate, Mahama Ayarga, won by a landslide to serve another term as the Member of Parliament for the Bawku Central constituency of the Upper East region. This will be his 5th term and 4th time consecutively. He was happy about the peaceful nature of the elections here in Bawku Central, despite the initial fears that there could be chaos.
Indeed, a few days to this election, there were many who did not believe that elections will be held in Bawku Central constituency. But the staff of the EC have proven that even they can do the impossible. So we want to thank them very much for what they have achieved. And again, let me thank the members of the security agencies here, led by the Divisional Police Commander, Mr. Adamu Seydou. Very important has been the role of the Ghana Armed Forces. Indeed, they have proven that they are the Ghana Armed Forces. And they have made sure that Bawku Central's election has been the most peaceful in Ghana, contrary to speculations. So I want to salute the Northern Command, led by Brigadier General Tay, and his able assistants. They've done a wonderful job, the Ghana Armed Forces, and we in Bawku are very, very grateful to them.
We waited for some time to be sure there were no threats of violence after the declaration of the election results. When we were assured it was safe, we made our journey back home to Bolgatanga, the streets of Bawku, peaceful with sights of a few supporters of the NDC jubilating. Reporting for Joy News, Albert Sore, Bawku Central Constituency.